An office is a relatively safe place in which to work. It has fewer hazards and therefore less risks to health and safety than many other workplaces. However, hazards still exist in the office, and it's important to identify all the hazards that are present so they can be properly evaluated and, when necessary, removed or controlled to reduce risk levels. Falls are a major cause of injuries in the office. An ordinary office can contain many common fall hazards. These include tripping hazards presented by various obstacles, open drawers, cords, wires and cables, worn or damaged floor surfaces, and incorrectly stored objects are all examples of common trip hazards. Slips can be caused by wet or slippery surfaces or by wearing footwear inappropriate to the workplace. A big part of preventing fall accidents in the office is simply the use of good housekeeping practices. Keep things tidy and put things in their proper places. Any spill should be cleaned up promptly, and warning signs should be put in place anywhere that the floor is wet or slippery. When carrying, never move items that will obscure your vision. You should also always wear appropriate shoes in the office, ideally ones with non-slip soles. Falling from height in the office is often a result of using inappropriate items to stand on to reach high shelves, light fittings and so on. To reach high places, you should always use appropriately designed steps or a step ladder. The majority of manual handling tasks in the office will involve lifting and carrying. Working in an office typically won't require a lot of heavy lifting. However, even lifting relatively light loads can cause injuries to your back, neck, shoulders and limbs if you use an incorrect lifting technique. So, it is always important to follow good lifting and carrying practices. Your back is particularly vulnerable to this kind of hazard. Most back injuries result from incorrect lifting and carrying. To help avoid injury, the first step is to ask yourself some questions before you pick up any load. Is this too heavy for me to lift alone? How high do I have to lift it? How far do I have to carry it? If you think that the load is beyond your capacity, seek help for the lift. Use a mechanical lifting aid, or simply don't lift it. If the load is okay to lift by yourself, then no matter what the size is, make sure you use the correct lifting technique. First, assume a balanced stance. Your feet should be about shoulder width apart. Bend your knees to get down to the load and keep your back as straight as possible. When you grip the load, don't hold it out in your fingers. Use the whole hand. Hold the load close into your body to lessen the strain. Lift by straightening your legs while keeping your back as straight as possible. Let your leg muscles do the work. They're stronger than the muscles in your back. Never twist while lifting. If you have to turn while holding a load, turn your whole body. Bending from a seated position can place a huge strain on the back. It's always best to stand first and crouch to lift, rather than try to lift from the floor while sitting. Ergonomics is the process of adapting the workplace to the people in it by modifying the design of the job task, equipment, workstation, or environment. Good ergonomics can greatly reduce the risk of injury. Bad ergonomics can make those injuries much more likely. Since most people who work in an office spend the greater part of their time at workstations, seating arrangements, posture and the position of equipment and light sources can all have an effect on the health of an individual. It's important that office chairs be adjustable to cater for different sizes and body shapes. When seated, your feet should be comfortably on the floor, with the upper legs parallel to the floor. The backrest should be in a position to support the curve of the back. Keyboards should be level with your elbows. Screens should be positioned to minimise reflection and glare to prevent visual strain. Most office fires can be grouped into three categories. Electrical fires. Fires involving ordinary combustible materials like paper, and fires occurring in food serving and preparation areas. These fires often involve cooking oils and fats. It's important to consider fire safety before a fire starts. All staff should participate in regular fire safety training and learn appropriate escape routes and how to operate fire alarms. Fortunately, almost all office fires start small, and most can be controlled with little damage and no injuries. The first consideration in the event of a fire should always be the safety of everyone in the immediate vicinity of the fire. After it is established that no one is in imminent danger, it is then important to raise the alarm. This can be done by using the fire alarm or informing someone in authority such as a supervisor or floor warden. A decision must then be made as to whether or not it is safe to attack the fire. Most offices are equipped with two types of first attack firefighting equipment: the fire hose reel and portable fire extinguishers. In most cases, the portable fire extinguisher will be the appropriate equipment to use. Everyone should know the location of the fire extinguishers in the office and how to use them. It's also important to know what kind of fire extinguisher is suitable to use on what kind of fire. For example, a water extinguisher should never be used on an electrical fire. The type of fire extinguisher and how to use it should be clearly labelled on the extinguisher itself. Every office contains electrical appliances and equipment that can, in some circumstances, present hazards. Electrical hazards can lead to fires and cause serious electric shocks and burns. Electrical outlets should never be overloaded. A sufficient number of outlets in the office will eliminate overloading and reduce the need for extension cords. If electrical equipment needs cleaning or adjusting, it should be disconnected from the power source before any work is carried out. All equipment should be well maintained. Substandard or poorly maintained electrical equipment is a hazard. Any broken or defective item of electrical equipment should be repaired by a qualified person or replaced immediately. If electrical cords are cracked, frayed or broken, disconnect them immediately and have them repaired or replaced. Cords should never be pulled or dragged across nails, hooks or anything that could cut through the insulation. They should also not be placed on hot surfaces such as radiators. Furniture placed in front of outlets should also allow for easy access. Adequate lighting in any working environment is important in reducing hazards. Poorly lit stairways or walkways can lead to slip and trip injuries. And overly bright lighting, reflections and glare can lead to visual strain. Good storage practices are another factor in office safety. Unsafe stacking of items in cupboards and storerooms leads to many accidents and injuries. Everything in the office should be stored in its correct place. Boxes, reams of paper and similar objects should be stacked with care. Avoid piling items into high, unstable stacks. Cutting tools such as knives and blades are often used in offices for tasks such as opening boxes. When using a knife, always cut away from your body. Tools should of course only ever be used for the purpose they were designed for. The office may also contain other equipment that could cause cutting injuries, like a shredder or paper cutter. Any sharp-edged piece of equipment should always be used with the utmost care. Chemicals are present in every workplace. In the office, the most obvious are the cleaning products that are used. However, there are often numerous other chemical substances present, such as glues and paints. Some of these chemicals would possess hazardous properties, such as toxicity or flammability. All chemicals in the office should be used only as recommended by the manufacturer and always stored in appropriate locations. There's no doubt that the average office contains many hazards, but it's not difficult to ensure that these hazards don't end up causing serious accidents and injuries. If an effort is made to identify the potential hazards, necessary controls are put in place, and safe working practices are followed, the office will be a safe working environment.